Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, doTERRA Blue Diamond, Tony McClellan.
Thank you. Hey, first of all, I just really have to thank Emily Wright for putting me in the lineup after the guy that sings Frozen and gives away freaking dryer balls. Really? How am I supposed to follow that? I apologize if my voice is still a little gruff. I may or may not have got carried away at the party last night. Alyssa, that was awesome, and your staff. Absolutely phenomenal. So, normally when I've been asked to present at a convention or at leadership, I've had really fun topics. I've been one of the guy recruiter guys, I was able to talk about the reasons you want to join your wife in this business. Lingerie Tuesday, Candy-Free Friday. The real reasons that men want to come home and work with their wives. But today's topic isn't one of those. Today's topic is big. It's serious. And it's probably too big for me to do alone. So I wanted to bring in a little help. Some of you may know I spent a little time in the music business. I was able to meet some pretty cool people, make some pretty good friends. And through that, I met a lady, and she is a huge essential oil fan. I had no idea. And she actually, we helped her get a wholesale account. It just worked out. She happens to be doing a gig down in Tampa tomorrow night, and she's been in the States for a little bit. She was on a show, maybe you saw it last week out at the Staples Center, the Grammys. She knows something about the Grammys because she has 6 of them sitting on her mantle at home. So I saw how you acted for dryer balls. I need you to give a huge doTERRA welcome to my good friend, Adele. I wanted to bring someone to help me. All right, I've got a question for you. How come it is so easy for you to believe that Adele is going to walk out onto the stage, and yet it is so difficult for you to believe that you can be successful in doTERRA? That you can find leaders and that you can live a life of purpose. Why? I get to talk a little bit today about belief and about the power of belief. In 1982 in Lawrenceville, Georgia, Angela Cavallo heard a crash and a scream. And so she ran outside towards the noise, and she found that the car that her son had been working on had fallen and was crushing him. So she ran to the car, and she reached down, and she lifted the car into the air high enough and long enough that 2 neighbors who also came to the noise were able to pull her son out from under the car and put the jacks back underneath. A 1964 Impala weighs 1,700 pounds. How was she able to do that? She believed that she could do it. She believed that she had to do it. And so she did. The power of belief is so strong that it can even change our body chemistry, as it did in her case, releasing the adrenaline. I guess you could say that her why was more powerful than her belief that it was impossible to lift a car. While our choices every day might not be as dramatic as that one, every day we too have to choose. We are either going to choose our why, or we're going to choose an excuse that keeps us from reaching our why. And the excuses that we use are created from the beliefs that we're holding on to. The first thing we need to understand is that most of our beliefs that are controlling our decisions are doing so without us even knowing it. It's all happening on a subconscious level. Our beliefs are conditioned perceptions, and they're built upon old memories of either pleasure or of pain. The second thing we need to understand about beliefs is that our beliefs are usually not based on facts, but just perceptions that we have from different events in our lives. Our beliefs start as just an idea, kind of like a tabletop with no legs. As we go throughout life, we look for references or evidences that support this idea, kind of like legs support the table. As things go on, we may attach emotion to these ideas and these beliefs. It's kind of like super glue. That's when it becomes extremely powerful. Again, not necessarily based on reality, but based on experiences that we've had. Perhaps this belief table looks a little more familiar. Really, you could take any limiting belief that you're holding on to and place it up there. And if you went through, and if you're honest with yourself, you'll find certain events in your life that have given support to that idea or that belief. The third thing you need to know is that our subconscious can be reprogrammed completely. So I want you to think of perhaps a favorite food or a dessert or a beverage of some kind that at one time you loved. And then, because of one single event, maybe overindulgence, food poisoning, something, you had a, how do I say this compliantly, a temporary episode of violent and disgusting projectile removal from one or more ends of your body. Does that work? Are we good with that, Sarah Marie? Are we okay with that? In an instant, your brain switched its association with that food or beverage from one of pleasure to one of pain. And your belief switched immediately from a belief that you love this food to a belief that you can't stand this thing. In fact, the result, even the thought of that food or that beverage is enough to churn your stomach. Okay? I had an experience as a child, well, when I was an actual child, not just when I was a child, like yesterday, okay? Where I was given some type of pistachio pudding concoction. And man, it was nasty. It was nasty. And so I had the belief that I hate pistachios. Well, this last year I came across some little nut and I ate it and I loved it. And imagine my surprise when I found out that this little nugget of goodness is what lives inside of a pistachio shell. I had no idea. I had spent 40 years of my life with the belief that I hated these things. And it was completely false, built on an experience that I'd had. Our beliefs can start as one little thing in our minds and end up completely out of control. Wow. They can even become something that's harmful to us. Pretty sure I sat next to this guy, Johnny Rockets, yesterday. Remember I said that just because we believe something, because it's become our reality, doesn't necessarily make it true. In today's world, science and exploration has given us a vast understanding of our planet and its place in the universe. But it was only a few hundred years ago that people believed that the world was flat. Now, this seems silly to us, but it was a very strong belief to them. It was reality to those people. For more than 200 years, there was a belief that people were made of glass that swept through some of the wealthier European households. Even King Charles VI spent many years of his life and even died with the certain belief that one false move would cause him to shatter. He had special clothes made, and he wrapped himself in blankets to be protected from this. an absolute reality to him. Today we walk around and we don't always see the world as it is. We may see dangers and obstacles that are in our way, but they're not necessarily there. If we change our perspective, everything looks completely different. I want you to take a look at this. I want you to look at the little rectangle that's in the middle. Which side of that rectangle is darker? Is it this side or is it this side? How many people say this side? Raise your hand. Okay, this side. Okay. Here's the exact same picture with the background removed. The tricks that our mind play on us aren't limited to our visual system. What we hear in a conversation, the way we think, how we feel, how we act, are all based on decisions that are being made by the beliefs that we're storing in our subconscious library. All of them. I want to show you a little video clip here. I want to. There we go. This is some footage shot down in Guatemala on one of the first Enhanced trips. We came across this wall, and we thought, I wonder if we can
Going
climb
straight
that.
back.
It was steep, it was slick, it was freaking impossible to climb.
So hard.
Every time we tried to climb this wall, our belief that it was unclimbable became stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
What we realized with a helping hand from above is that we were pretty close, actually, to being able to do that. Our beliefs started to shift. We started to believe that maybe it was possible.
Great. Yeah. Mason got really good at it. Shoes out.
I only have one move. That's it. So what changed? You know what's cool is after the first of us reached the top of that wall, within about 10 minutes, almost every single person who had been trying over and over and over made it to the top of the wall. It was still just as steep. It was still just as slick. What changed? Only one thing. The belief that we held that we could do it. We believed we could do it, and so it was. So, why have I spent all this time showing you this stuff? I needed to offer your minds proof that the things that I'm telling you are actually true. I needed to put some legs under that table for you. Let me tell you something that is absolute truth. We might laugh off some of these old beliefs, as just silly and just plain ridiculous. But the limiting beliefs that we hold within ourselves today are just as real to us as those beliefs were to those people. And they are far, far more dangerous. We create some of these limiting beliefs in the beginning as a way to protect ourselves. Some of these limiting beliefs may have even served us as children, but they don't serve us now. Not talking to strangers may have kept you safe as a child, but how does that belief serve you as an adult? How does that belief serve you in your desire to share oils with the world? Your underlying belief that you shouldn't talk to strangers may be keeping you from talking to the people that you need to grow this business. When we control what kind of informational messages we put into our brains, we can start to kind of declutter our library. We can throw out some of the old negative junk that's there and reprogram it with new stuff. Like Jim Rohn says, if you want things to change, you have to change, right? Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. All great wisdom from Jim Rohn. But we have to do it. If we don't, the consequences can be catastrophic. like everything, it's a choice. There's been a lot of talk this weekend about choices. No one can make you get rid of your limiting beliefs. Only you can make you get rid of your limiting beliefs. So what are they? What are you holding on to? What's keeping you from reaching your goals and, more importantly, from reaching your potential? I don't deserve. Yeah, you do. We've talked a lot about money this week. A lot of people are afraid of that money. Who really needs that kind of an income? Get over that. Own it. If you need to, go get you some socks like that. You see those? Focus in. Lower. Somebody's head's in the way. Let me come over here. Nice. According to Brooke Rigby, these are the socks I wear every day. There you go. Now you can't make fun of me.
3 weeks in a row.
You know what, guys? The world tells us that we're going to fail from a very young age. Look at the life of a baby. No, don't. Get down. Stop. And it doesn't stop. How many people have family members that think you're crazy for doing what you do? Maybe even a spouse that tell you that are filling your library with these negative books. Don't believe it for a second. I'm eternally grateful that my wife didn't listen to me when I told her those things. Because I did. This is not a business. This is a hobby. You buy these little bottles of oil and you dump them into littler bottles and you give them away to people for free. That's not a business. I was so very wrong. So don't believe it. You know, think to the food poisoning example. You can reprogram your thoughts, okay? The good news is it doesn't have to be as unpleasant as maybe the food poisoning would be. You can do absolutely anything that you believe you can do. Our brains will help us find a way. Have you ever bought a new car and you noticed now suddenly everywhere you went, you see that car, right? Everywhere. Just between you and me, I hope you do realize there really weren't any more of that car on the road. You just see them now, right? I haven't lost anybody with that concept. We're still okay? Positive messages are the same way. If we fill our brains with positive messages, suddenly we can see all of these possibilities and opportunities that are around us. They're there right now. We're just not looking for them and we can't see them. When we reprogram our brain, it's kind of like we get our very own superpower. We can see these things that are just walking around that other people can't see. We become aware of them like the cars on the road. This power of belief is how people are able to break through a stack of bricks, or to walk on fire, or to pull a train down the tracks. You know, I've never ever thought about pulling a train down the tracks. I've never thought about putting that on my vision board. I don't think I'm going to do that. You need to find your feather. Okay? We need a magic feather sometimes to help us believe. So where do you find that feather? Well, you may need to enlist the help of a belief therapist. And lucky for you, we have those in doTERRA. They are called mentors. This company is set up with a built-in support system of people who love you, who want to help you, who are genuinely interested in seeing us succeed. You can also find inspiration from people like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, great mentors and instructors who are up and ready to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's all free. We can now reprogram the limiting beliefs that we have with new beliefs that inspire us, motivate us, encourage, and empower us. empower us to become a force for good in this world. And in case you haven't noticed, this world needs a little more good. But as I said, it's a choice. Sharing doTERRA is a choice. Changing your beliefs is a choice. Success is a choice. doTERRA Diamond is a choice. Greatness is a choice. As my good friend Carol Truman always says, if you don't really want to do something, any excuse will do. Doesn't really matter what you use. We can get all the help and support we need. We can find coaches and cheerleaders, but in the end, it's up to us to decide to change, to commit 100% to greatness. Know that you will become great. Don't try to become great. Many of us have lost our why. Some of us have outgrown our why. I looked at my first vision board that we made when I joined doTERRA with my smoking hot wife, and, we had achieved every single thing on the board, except for the Ferrari. So I moved the Ferrari over to the next board, okay? But I noticed that it had really started to move down in importance to me. There's a lot of things that are a lot more important now than that. And then after hearing Dave talk, well, I couldn't drive it anyway. So, don't need to buy a Ferrari and keep it in the garage under a tarp. That would be silly. So I challenge all of us who have seen our goals accomplished and our dreams come true to expand our vision beyond where it currently is. To find a why that is bigger than ourselves. To give more. To serve more. To do more. And to become more than we currently are. Justin showed this slide. If we're comfortable, it's time to go back for work. Not for money, but for purpose. And to find greatness. Do you believe? I quickly want to share with you a story that Byron Reese shared about a cool man. His name's Don Schofringer. Don was just an average man with an average life. He was on holiday in Morocco with his wife, and he came across a site that unfortunately is not an uncommon site if you've traveled in some of the poorer parts of the world. Don came across an old woman who was crossing the street. This woman had one arm. And because of disease or deformity, I don't know, she was unable to walk across the road. So she dragged herself across the road. She, of course, was dirty and bleeding from the process. Don, like any of us would be, was very moved by what he saw that day. But unlike the thousands of people who had witnessed that over and over, he decided to do something about it. So he went home and he bought one of those resin chairs. He bought some assorted hardware, some lawnmower tires. Then he went to the toy store and he bought some bicycle tires. And he went home into his garage and he built a wheelchair. Now, it didn't look like a wheelchair, but it functioned like one. And it had a lot of extra benefits. It was very durable, very rugged. It could maneuver over a lot of terrain that a traditional wheelchair could not. It was easy to hose down and to clean, and it was very inexpensive to build. It cost about $60. He didn't stop there. He founded a mission, a nonprofit organization called Free Wheelchair Mission that builds these wheelchairs and gives them away. And to date, they've given away over 800,000 of these chairs in over 91 countries. A lot of people could have done what Don did, but why didn't they? It didn't require any special skills. It didn't require any special training or education. It didn't take a lot of time. It didn't take a lot of money. What was different about Don or his circumstances that made him great? He believed that he could make a difference. And so he did. Greatness is not a destiny granted to a few, but it is a decision available to anyone. Do you believe? Zig understood it. The way to have what you want is to help other people get what they want. Do you believe it? JFK understood it. Don't ask what people can do for you. Ask what you can do for others. Do you believe it? If you've read the scriptures, you understand the secret to greatness. Love, service. I need a volunteer to come up here real quick. Someone from back there. I'm not going to pick somebody, just come up. Preferably someone who's here for your first time, a new silver. Jump up and run. Come up quick. Just somebody get up here. First one up. I've got a volunteer. Yeah! Sorry, got one. Bree. Hi, Bree. Where are you from? Dallas, Texas. This is Bree, everybody. Bree, this is everybody. So, are you wondering what I'm going to have you do? You don't have a great singing voice? Okay, crap. Well, what I needed you to do is just come up here. This is my favorite oil, and I just wanted you to have it as frankincense. So, thanks. You go back to your seat. That's it.
That was easy.
So, when I asked for a volunteer, if you didn't raise your hand, if you didn't want to come and volunteer, how come you didn't want to come and volunteer? What were you afraid of? Maybe being in front of all these people? Maybe the unknown, afraid of the unknown, not knowing what I'm going to have you do up here? Why do you have that fear that you're holding on to? It is fear, right? Fear is the thing that keeps us from doing most things that we should be doing. Did you know that in the Bible, there's 365 references that say, fear not, or be not afraid? It's probably advice we should look into. Sometimes we have to face our fears head on to overcome them. Sometimes we have to jump off of a perfectly good boat into an ocean full of sharks to overcome our fears. One of the coolest things I've ever done, by the way. I had fear, but you know what scared me more than the sharks? Being the guy that sat on the boat going, I'm not going in there, when all my buddies went in. That was scary. Let me end with this. If you need a little bit of motivation, this is what motivates me. To find my purpose. Remember, people, we're in the United States of America. We're in a country of 350 million people where there are 120 million prescriptions written for antidepressant medications. People need our help. People need hope. People need to believe. People need you. I believe that God most often answers prayers through other people. So let go of your fear. You're living small. Serve no one. Live larger. I've chosen to become great. I've chosen to change the world. You want to know my plan? Feel free to copy it. It's a simple one. One. It's one. One bottle at a time. One person at a time. I believe that by providing better health, alternatives, and prosperity to every home in the world, we become great. I believe that I can make a difference in this world, a real difference in this world, by getting other people to join me in my cause and by multiplying my efforts. I believe that if we can get over ourselves, get out of our own way, stop making excuses, serve more, love more, do more, that we can do anything. I believe that by not doing these things, I'm selfish. I challenge all of you to become a better version of yourselves. I challenge you to reach your potential. I challenge you to believe in yourself, to believe in your abilities, to believe in your team, to believe in your why, and to believe in your purpose. Let's go, doTERRA. We've got this. Thank you.